Sweet mother of mercy, it is winning time for Sean Payton and your Denver Broncos, and they are about to absolutely cook as they get great NFL free agency news as a player we all wanted to go snag last year at the trade deadline is available for free that we can get to whoever's the highest bidder, and it is great news. We have rumors about who the Broncos could target, who is off the board because they've already re-signed deals with their team, that and way more in this video. If you're new to the channel, it helps me and the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you would like and subscribe. And before we dive in, it is NFL free agency that you take a good team and make it a great team. You go out and get a Peyton Manning and an Aqib Talib and an Emmanuel Sanders. You get a Bill Romanowski and an Ed McCaffrey. There are so many great Denver Broncos who we stole as NFL free agents. So let me know in the comments, who's your favorite all-time Denver Broncos free agent? I actually loved Ed McCaffrey like a ton and love his sons as well. So I think that would be mine. But let me know in the comments, who is your favorite? Sean Payton absolutely cooks at the NFL trade deadline. He is as NFL free agency opens up. He's shown us last year as he went out and got a Malcom Roach, got a Zac Allen a couple years ago, got a Brandon Jones. This is his winning time when he knows exactly what he wants and exactly what's going to fit his system. And we hear multiple plugged-in sources say the Broncos, watch out, they're going to be big spenders. Who might that be on? Well, the big news of the day is that the Jacksonville Jaguars had a ton of offers last year for their stud tight end, who's a former first-rounder. He was a first-round pick for the New York Giants several years ago. Only 30 years old, fits the scheme perfectly for what the Denver Broncos want to do. And the Jaguars are like, hey, we're in win-now mode, and now they've lost Evan Engram for nothing. So the Broncos would have to give up nothing other than the cash to sign him, and he is a complete free agent now. And I think that could be an amazing piece for the Denver Broncos to go out and get a tight end that last year we talked about throwing a third-round draft for him, and now you could get him for next to nothing. Tons of people in Denver are saying, like, this could be the exact definition of when Sean Payton says he wants a joker, a tight end who is impossible to guard with just a linebacker. And you just see, like, there's a reason that he was a first-round draft pick, and that was before drafting tight ends early was really a hot thing. Obviously, we've seen dudes like Brock Bowers and different tight ends blow up the league, but he is the definition of what a joker is. Like, look at here in triple coverage against the Green Bay Packers, him go up at only 6'3", snag that ball, and you just watch his athleticism. He is absolutely wild here, and you don't see that type of athleticism out of a tight end, often able to run the line there like a running back. Absolutely dirty stuff here out of him and what he could be for this team. And I think Sean Payton is going to go get him because you do not see that type of athleticism out of the tight end position. He's not like a great blocking tight end necessarily, but you just see the mismatch that he is. That's what Sean Payton said that he wanted. So when I think about my dream scenario for what should the Broncos do in NFL free agency, if we ended up with Evan Engram, I'd rip my shirt off. Like, that would be wildly exciting because last year at the trade deadline, I was saying I'd give up a third-round pick to have a tight end for Bo Nix to throw the ball to. You got to remember, we have been dead last in our tight end production over the past several seasons in a row. He drastically improves that, and then in the draft, you're not necessarily even saying we need a Warren or a Colston Loveland because we already got our tight end, and he's only 30 years old, and we see Travis Kelce still doing it, and he's about to be 36 years old. So I think this would be a huge pickup. The other person, as I'm building out my dream scenario for what the Broncos do in free agency, and I know they're going to do big stuff because you're seeing all the national outlets say they're going to be spending big. The other thing is if we came away with a Dre Greenlaw, that would be nasty work, and I think that makes this defense the best defense in the entire NFL. We see what our defensive front already is with a Zac Allen and a Benito and a Cooper and a Jonah Ellis and a Dondre Tillman. Like, that is awesome. We have the defensive player of the year in a corner. We have Riley Moss with a crazy upside. If all of a sudden our inside linebackers are Alex Singleton, who we know is a great baller when he's healthy, and then Dre Greenlaw, that just takes us to being the best defense in the league, and I don't see how there's even an argument for that. So that could be absolutely wild stuff there, and seeing here that he's pursuing a deal that would be $12 million per year. I'm absolutely willing to pay that after watching what Zack Baun's deal was, that it was $17 million a year, and I think Dre Greenlaw has shown more production. Zack Baun had a fantastic year this last year, but was he a household name before? No, and Dre Greenlaw absolutely was. So I think this could be a wild thing for the Broncos to walk out with that. Also hearing multiple reports here that from plugged-in media sources that the Broncos really want a veteran wide receiver to pair with Bo Nix. To me, Courtland Sutton already is a veteran wide receiver, but maybe a receiver who has a different set of skills. And so the folks are talking a lot about could a Cooper Kupp and his route running be the perfect complement because it is so different than what Courtland Sutton does. These are highlights even just from recently, so it's not like he does not still have this in the bag. Obviously, it wasn't that long ago that he was a Triple Crown winner, and he still has that ability to be a slot monster, to run every route in the book and just, I mean, he is juking dudes all over the place. Good luck staying in front of him. And so as I think of my priorities, if we were able to get Greenlaw, Kupp, and Evan Engram, I would pencil us in, like, clear out your late January because the Broncos are already moving that deep. So just a lot of excitement there. Let me know in the comments, who are your priorities? There's a ton of talk about Chris Godwin, and I would love that to be the case. I just think he's going to cost too much for the Broncos at this point. We still are on that last year of Russell Wilson's dead cap hit. Spending like that in free agency, I think, is something that could happen next year as we are totally off of the Russell Wilson money, and we're talking about Bo Nix and that rookie deal and just how we have the most cash-rich owner in sports and can spend like drunken sailors. That could be a really, really exciting time, and I absolutely can't wait for that. But I think those three signings that I talked about, that's not even that bogus of a claim, and it skyrockets us when it comes to the AFC West, absolutely, especially as you watch these teams rebuild, as you watch the Kansas City Chiefs need a ton of help on their offensive line as they shipped off a interior offensive lineman and a Pro Bowler there in Tooney. You see that they're going to be losing Hopkins and losing Hollywood Brown. Rashee Rice is going to be having a suspension. You see the Chargers move on from Bosa and Khalil Mack. You see the Raiders don't have a quarterback and have a ton of issues, don't have a wide receiver one. We're going to win the AFC West next year, and I hope you timestamp that and screenshot it because it's going to happen. Other absolutely great pieces of news here, and just a great time when you have the richest owner in sports. They're capped by a salary cap. You can't spend more on players than other teams, but one way that you can give your team a competitive advantage when you have an ownership group willing to spend is that you can promote from within and just create crazy positions that don't exist other places and incentivize your top leaders to stay there. And that's what Sean Payton has done with this team. And so we're seeing that a lot of coaches who've been pinged for head coach jobs elsewhere have been incentivized to stay with the Broncos and have actually turned down head coach or coordinator interviews because they know where the money is, and being linked with the owner of Walmart is a great thing. And so we're seeing here title changes for Zach Strief. We just hear about him all the time and how his name is skyrocketing. He'll be a head coach someday. The longer we can keep him and Davis Webb, the better. And Jim Leonard, again, was having head coach interviews just a few years ago, and we were able to keep him as well by giving him a name change as well. And we're just hearing that all over the place, that Davis Webb, Jim Leonard, and Zach Strief all were getting pinged all over the place to come and jump ship and take this secret sauce that Sean Payton has cooked up with the Broncos and take it to another team. And they said, hard pass on that. We are hitching our wagons to these Denver Broncos. And that is a fantastic thing. So let me know, what are you hoping for in the next 3 days? It is going to be a wild ride. I hope you are subbed here and buckled up because Broncos country, we're making a deep run next year, and that's something we can all believe in.